What the heck has happened to anime reviews? You barely see any new ones being made, and most major anitubers have stepped away from doing them. Well, they might be dead. Ugh! Oh no, Tom, why did you do that? Starving children in Africa could have eaten those. In recent years, anime reviews have fallen off of the edge of our flat earth. Sure, people sometimes still do them, but they're not as relevant or sought after as they used to be. I'd go as far as to say that they're dead, and most likely for good. But to better understand what happened to them, we have to dive back a bit. Son of a... Well, back in the day, like 5 to 3 years ago, reviews used to mean something. People would go crazy over them, and most major anitubers used to make them. We had the Anime Man, Clash Reflection, Bob Samurai, Demolition D, even the goddamn Anime Snob made them. It was the golden age of anime reviews and reviews in general. These were videos that let the viewers know what anime to watch next, what they have missed, and even entertain them, throwing in these weird skits and stuff, and that was a pretty weird time that I'm sure a lot of people would like to forget. Some still revisit their heydays and do reviews once in a blue moon, but they don't nearly get as many views as they used to. And some others have actually died, I guess. I credit the massive success that reviews have had to AVGen and Nostalgia Critic, bringing their personality into it and doing something completely different and leveling up the entirety of the genre of making reviews, I guess. Not just bringing up basic stats about the show and listing off what they liked and didn't, but instead putting their emotion in it. Not just having a classic review, but more of an entertainment show. Making it fun for the viewer, and going even as far as attracting them to watch or play things that they never even thought of. People didn't usually go to their videos to discover something new for themselves, but instead to see what they come up with. But as with anything successful, people just kept jumping on the bandwagon until it broke down. Once people figured out that they can do these videos on their own and nothing can stop them, of course they tried to get a piece of that glory pie too. All you needed was a camera and a microphone. No, scratch that. You didn't even need a camera. You could just throw in a picture of an anime thing and that would suffice. So the word review evolved into something more mainstream and bland. There are many reasons why that word has changed and lost its meaning. One of them being the fact that everybody could make them. All you needed was a recording device, following a standard script template, and publishing it. Technically, you wouldn't even need an editing software. Not much effort needed to cover an anime. In essence, people took this little handmade cake and started mass producing it without any regard to quality. And that's something that I see a lot of small channels do even nowadays because of how easy it is. You don't need to think of a complex analysis or research anything, just follow a standard basic script template covering the opening, the visuals, the story, the characters, and then slapping a random number at the end. And back then it did work. You got clicks, you got views, and mostly thanks to the fact that there was a lot of anime to cover and everybody was doing their own thing. But now that the most major anime have already been covered, there really isn't that much new you can bring to the table. So first point was that they got oversaturated. But now the second one, it always comes back to those darn episode reviews, doesn't it? If you search up a review for an anime and expect to get a full review of said anime, 90% of the time you'll be sorely disappointed because of the people who do episode reviews. Oh my god! How are there so many? Episode reviewers almost single-handedly obliterated the word review. And sure, from a purely factual standpoint, yeah, you can take an episode on its own and review it. But you can also take one candy from a box of chocolates and say that it's good or shit, but there's no context to it. Why would you take one thing, one part of a whole, and review it? Ah, fuck. So if you somehow do get past the first 10 pages of episode reviews because you're just so thirsty for the full review, well then most likely you'll just be greeted by those template reviewers who don't really do anything special, and you could as well just read the reviews on Mull. Because a lot of the time, they are much more creative and fun. And thus by oversaturating and demeaning the word, classic reviews died off. And sadly, some of the channels who couldn't adapt, and some of the people fell too. You were so young! Why did you have to go, Bob? Another big argument here is that people don't even really need reviews anymore. In the early days, reviews were a source of information about the show that you didn't know much about. Maybe you didn't even care about the channel or the person, but you just wanted to know that little piece of information in the show that you couldn't find anywhere else. Perhaps you were confused about something, or couldn't understand the ending of Neon Genesis Evangelion, and hoped that the reviewer would cover it and explain it. But now that YouTube is bombarded with these wannabe YouTubers, myself included of course, you have a much wider choice of content. No longer do you need to watch a whole review in the hopes of them actually mentioning something in the passing. If you're only interested in the symbolism in the opening, just go watch that video. Saw some minuscule detail in one anime? Well, there's a whole video about it. Want to know the meaning behind something that was left open or cryptic in the show? You're welcome. Curious about the color in the best episode of Samurai Champloo? Yeah, I guess that exists also. For some reason, super specific videos exist that cater to your peculiar needs. You don't need to watch a full video about a full anime anymore. Instead of this all-in-one solution, now you have a box of chocolates to choose from. Look, I didn't have any more props lying around. So this brings me to my final point. You might think that reviews as these classical reviews have gone, but no, they're still here. As with everything, you need to evolve and adapt, and that's exactly what they've done. They're still out there in the depths of YouTube, but they've just become clickbaitier and updated their template a bit. Because review has this bad connotation stuck to it. So a quick fix would be to just not call it a review anymore. Just change the wording, literally call it anything else. An overview. Should you watch? Is it worth watching? Ask a question like, is anime X good? Call it an analytical diatribe. And then just continue on with your boring BS. BAM! Welcome to the club of getting 10% more views than you normally do. No need to thank me. So yeah, while anime reviews as these classical golden beings made of wonder and surprise are dead, a more newer and updated stuff is out there. They're just harder to find because they don't have that one specific word attached to them that makes them easier to discover. But if you look hard enough, you'll find some shit that isn't shit. Now this video only got made because of you lovely who voted for it in the poll. And to keep stuff interesting and spread my eggs to different baskets, next poll is up on Instagram, where you can choose between two videos. The poll is up for like a day or 2 or 3, I don't know how it works, but the most voted for one will be out next week. And if you'd like to support my channel, then drop a like, because I don't have Patreon and I don't need money. Yeah, just your love and affection and eternal dedication.